Welcome back to Sorare Assist, assisting you in your Sorare journey. So with the first edition of the Sorare Season Scouting, I thought it was only right to do some budget player videos every day in anticipation of the upcoming player auctions. So stick around to get your shortlist together. Before that, I'd like to welcome all Sorare managers watching this video today. If you're a new visitor to the channel, then welcome. If you're a returning visitor and didn't subscribe on your last visit, then do that by bumping that big red button and click that notification bell to be alerted about new content. If you like this video, then please do just that and ping that like button. And please try and watch the video all the way through to the end to make the YouTube gods happy. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and for more free Sorare content, please check out SorareAssist.com. Also become a patron of Sorare Assist for budget player scouting, and grab yourself a free 100-page Ultimate Guide Sorare ebook. Links to all this good stuff are in the description. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, then sign up using the link below to get a 13 common cards and a free limited card. Using these links also helps support the channel and future content. None of this content is financial advice. Right, now that's out of the way, let's get stuck into today's content. With Sorare announcing the season scouting, I'll be producing some budget scouting videos every day for the targeted players in that specific auction each day. As we know, this is the schedule set out by Sorare, so on Monday we're going to have the auctions for the America Leagues, Tuesday La Liga, Wednesday Challenger Europe Part 1, Thursday we've got the Challenger Europe Part 2, Friday Bundesliga, Saturday Asia and Sunday the Champion Europe. So every day I'll be posting a video right here on Sorare Assist. Not only that, but I'm also creating a scout pack for the upcoming Underdog Special Game Weeks, which are going to be run between Game Week 250 and 254. As we know, each special weekly will have a maximum threshold in terms of the player's last 5 scores to be eligible. Within these scout packs, I'll be targeting players with the required last 5 average who are capable of better scores and also have a perceived easier fixture in that specific special weekly game week. This will give us the best chance to try and take advantage of the rewards on offer in these special weeklies. The scout packs will be available the game week before the special weekly to make sure that players are still eligible, as in the last 5 average isn't too high. These scouting packs are available to patrons only, and you can gain access to these by joining the Sorare Assist Patreon. You will also unlock all 8 issues of the weekly scout reports, which is the regular content over on our Patreon. Not only that, but you'll also get early access to the budget scouting videos coming up over the next week or so. So check that out using the link in the description. Right, back to the budget scouting videos then, and this week I'm going to be concentrating on the German Bundesliga options. So these have been the top 10 that I've found in terms of budget price in the Bundesliga, and these are the auctions that are due to end on Friday. Let's get straight stuck into it then, starting as ever with the goalkeepers, then defenders, midfielders and finally the forwards. So the goalkeeper I've gone for is Oliver Baumann of Hoffenheim, 31-year-old. Started 23 games this season for Hoffenheim, saving an average of 2.9 saves per game, which is 76% save ratio. And he's also showing some high pass numbers for a goalkeeper as well, with 30 accurate passes. He's kept 6 clean sheets in those 23 games, which isn't too bad, but he is also showing plenty of saves. In terms of his limited price, you're looking at around 167, and his rare is going for around 1062. Now this doesn't really look like in the price bracket, but it's probably one of the cheapest goalkeepers you can get in terms of decent scores and price compared to the other Champion Europe goalkeepers. If we look at some of his scores, he is capable of some high scores. He's got a couple of 80s here. He's also got some 70 scores and some 60 scores as well. So it does look like a very viable option. In terms of defenders then, I've gone for Philipp Linhardt of Freiburg. Only 25, mainly plays on the right of the central defence. Started 24 games this season. He's also scored 4 goals as well, which is good. He's averaging 45 accurate passes per game with 86% accuracy. His interceptions look good at 1.4 interceptions per game. He's also winning 62% of his duels. Price wise for this 25-year-old, you're looking at around £62 for his limited and £465 for his rare. His scores are looking good. He's got a 90 score here. He's also got 3 scores in the 80 region. He's also got a few 70s and quite a few 60 and 50 scores as well. So it looks like a very consistent performer, this guy. One definitely to consider. Another defender I like the look of is Waldemar Anton of Stuttgart. Only 25. Plays majority as a centre back. He started 20 games this season, he's scored 1 goal, he's also chipped in with 1 assist. He's averaging 53 accurate passes per game, which is pretty high. And his interceptions per game looks good at 1.1, and tackles per game also looks impressive at 1.5. He's also winning 54% of his duels. Price wise, he's going for a very cheap looking £22 for his limited, and a very cheap looking £275 for his rare, which to me looks very cheap for a champion Europe defender. His scores are looking good as well. He's recently got a 98. He's also got an 89 score there as well. 370 scores. He's also got some scores in the 60 region and 50 region. So a very consistent scorer, this guy. Probably one to be really good potentially for a threshold team as well. On to the midfielders then. The first one I've gone for is Jonas Hector. He can play on the left of midfield and also as a left back. I think he does the majority of play as a left back for Köln, and he started 22 games for them this season and he's assisted 5 goals as well. He's also averaging 1.3 key passes per game and 35 accurate passes per game. Now his interceptions and tackle numbers look really impressive. He's averaging 1.7 interceptions per game and 2.4 tackles per game. This looks absolutely fantastic. And he's also winning 57% of his duels. Price wise, you're looking at around 24 for his limited and £230 for his rare, which again looks very cheap for a champion Europe defender, for a champion Europe midfielder. Looking at his scores, he's got a couple of 100 scores quite a while ago now though. He's also got a score of 93 and a couple of scores of 80s and a lot of 70s more recently. He's also got some 60s and a few 50 scores as well. Very few scores here below 50. So he's shown very good consistency long term. Moving on to the next midfielder, that is Maximilian Arnold. Does look very cheap, this guy. Very undervalued. He's only 27. Plays central midfield, gets all over the pitch. This guy defends, he shoots, he attacks, he takes corners, free kicks, that sort of thing. Absolutely vital player for Wolfsburg. He started 24 games this season for Wolfsburg, scored 2 goals. He's also averaging 1.7 key passes per game and 41 accurate passes per game. He's chipping in with interceptions as well at 1.1 per game and tackles at 1.1 per game. In terms of his price then, for a 27-year-old champion Europe midfielder, you're looking at £47 for his limited and £548 for his rare. Now looking at his scores, he is a very consistent scorer, this guy. He would be perfect for a threshold team because he's going to get you consistent scores 50 and above. Not only that, he's also capable of some very high scores. As from his score graph, we can see that he's scored 5 scores of 90 plus. He's also got plenty of scores in the 80s and loads of scores in the 70s and 60s as well. So he's a very consistent performer and is capable of those high scores as well. Another player that looks good is Philip Kostic of Frankfurt. Only 29, very attacking player, this guy. He started 19 games this season for Frankfurt, scored 3 goals and also assisted 7. He's averaging 1.8 shots per game and 2.8 key passes per game. He's also created a fantastic 15 big chances this season for Frankfurt. And he's also chipping in with some tackles at 1.4 tackles per game. Price wise, you're looking at around £92 for his limited and £694 for his rare. If we look at his scores, he's got 4 scores of 100. He's also got a score of 90 there, plenty of scores in the 80 and 70 range, and also a number of scores in the 60 range. Very consistent player, this guy, and is capable of those higher scores. Another midfielder that caught the eye is Karim Demirbay of Leverkusen. Only 28, plays in the central and midfield for Leverkusen, takes corners as well, and has started 18 games this season, scoring 1 goal and assisting 3. He's averaging 1.2 shots per game and 1.8 key passes. He's also showed decent pass numbers at 35 accurate passes per game. Not only that, he's chipping in with some interceptions at 1.2 per game and 2.1 tackles per game as well. And he's also winning 52% of his duels. In terms of his price, you're looking at £37 for his limited and £332 for his rare. This looks very cheap for me for a midfielder who's only 28, playing in the Champion Europe division and also playing for a very good Leverkusen side. In terms of his scores, he is capable of those high scores as shown by 2 scores of 100. He's also got 4 scores in the 90 range, some 80 scores as well thrown in there and plenty of 70 and 60 scores. This does look a very good viable option and does look very cheap to me for a champion Europe midfielder. Another midfielder that caught the eye was Nicholas Hoffler of Freiburg. This season he started 22 games, scored 2 goals and also assisted 2. He's averaging 1.2 shots per game. Pass per game looks good at 31 accurate passes per game. His interceptions and tackles also looks good at 1.5 interceptions per game and 2.7 tackles per game as well. Not only that, he's also winning an average of 7.2 duels per game, which is 58% of duels won. Bit more of a defensive player this guy, but he is chipping in with occasional goal and also some assists. If we look at his price then, you're looking at this guy for around 31 on his limited and £265 on his rare card. This to me does look very cheap. His scores are looking good as well. He's got a couple of scores in 90s, a few scores in the 80 range as well, and plenty of scores in the 60s and 50 range. So if you're looking for a threshold player, this is another very good option. Moving on to the forwards then, and the first one I've gone for is Manus Dabur of Hoffenheim. This season he's started 13 of the games, but he does seem to be starting a lot of the games more recently. He's scored 3 goals and also averaged 3 assists. He's averaging 1.3 shots per game as well, which is good. In terms of his price on Sorare, you're looking at around 24 for his limited and £363 for his rare. For a 29-year-old forward, this doesn't look too bad. Scores wise, he's got a score of 100. He's also got some 80 scores, a couple of 80 scores there. He's also got some 70s and 60 scores, plenty of those. So it does look very good. He probably does rely on goals though to get him those higher numbers, but he does look a very cheap option anyway for the Champion Europe region. Another player that looks decent was Bebu of Hoffenheim. Only 27, obviously plays for the same team as De Boer. He started 19 games this season for Hoffenheim, scored 7 goals and also assisted 2. He's averaging 1.9 shots per game. An out-and-out attacker this guy, doesn't really do much else during the game apart from try and find the back of the net. And he is more than capable of doing that with 7 goals in his 19 starts. In terms of his price, you're looking at around £49 for his limited and £462 for his rare. This to me looks cheap for a Champion Europe forward who was only 27. If we look at some of his scores then, he's got a score of 90, he's got 4 scores in the 80 range. He's also got a few scores in the 70 and plenty of scores in the 60 region. So it does look a very good option and is capable of getting some good high scores as well. So that is all the selections for this budget scouting video that I'm going to be doing every day for the Sorare scouting season. And don't forget as well, there's the Underdog series coming up as part of this Sorare scouting season as well. And I'm going to be producing a scout pack to make sure that you guys are armed with all the top picks for that special weekly game week. This is obviously only available on the Patreon, but you can obviously head over there, join the Patreon, unlock the scout pack, and also unlock all the current content that's on the Patreon, which is 8 issues of the weekly scout reports. And don't forget on the Patreon as well, you'll also get early access to these budget videos before anybody else. So make sure you check that out by using the link in the description below. So if you do like this video, do let me know by hitting that like button, and do make sure you subscribe and ping that notification bell so you're alerted about these budget videos coming out. Like I said, join our Patreon and don't forget to pick up your free 100-page Ultimate Guide to Sorare. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and for more free Sorare content, please check out sorareassist.com. Links in the description. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, then sign up using the link below to get a free limited card. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.